So the next mode is, how do we set up Camera Lucida, not using the automatic picture way of doing it, but using the manual picture way of doing it. And this again is supplied by Peter with the app, just a printout. So it's circles, squares, rectangles, and grid and text. And instead of using the automatic mode, you can manually set it up. So here I've put the image in front of my iPad. And if I go up here, you can see that because I've just set it up using the automatic mode, it is pretty good for alignment. It's nice and parallel. So the grid across is nice and square. The grid down is nice and square. But assuming that this may be totally out and you want to check it using the manual mode. So one of the issues with manual mode is that in order to use it, you need to have this printout. So make sure you print this out, and you need to have this as an image on your screen. So first of all, I will load this as an image on my iPad. So let's load that in. Go into our camera roll and let's select that image. And there is the image. So that's the image of this, which I've just printed out. This is supplied with Camera Lucida. If you go up to the menu in the top left-hand corner, which is this hamburger menu, you can see you've got various options down the side here. And these are important options, but one of them that I'm going to use now is the reset camera. And I'm going to press that. And the reason I'm going to press that is because I want to set this up from scratch using the manual mode, just to show you how to do it. Now you can see if I change the transparency here, so this is my image that I've got loaded, and this is the image in front here. You can see now that everything is not in proportion. So this, which is a circle down the bottom, is actually not a circle on here. These aren't circles, these aren't squares. This is supposed to be a square. These are supposed to be circles. These lines here on the image and on the printout are supposed to be parallel. So if I move the slider across, you can see that the line on the image is nice and square. This is just the image, but the image as it's on my drawing surface is way out. You can see how it's sloping inwards here. So I need to correct for that. By the way, I think we are on issue number 6. Issue number 6. Okay. So how do I get this to print it out? Well, if you go to the top and you select your camera and you select more, when you go down the list of options here, we've already used the top option. We've got this option here which says Print Save Helper. This is the helper. And you can see the image there pretty much maps to this. So how do I get this to print it out? I go to the More menu and I select Print Save Helper. So first thing I'll do is I will save to my camera roll the image. Then I'll come back in and then I'll print it as well. So I've now got an image and I've also got a printout. Okay, in this instance I'll cancel because I've already done all that. So I now need to manually get the parallax sorted out between these two. If you're using the automatic mode, just don't bother with this. You can ignore all this and go and have a cup of tea because you don't need to do it. But I do it because I'm used to using the manual mode. Okay, so we've got our image printed out here and we've got the image on the screen. In order to do the parallax, we need a couple of sliders down the bottom here if we're doing the manual mode. Now, at the moment, you can't see those sliders, so that's perhaps issue 7, but I'll include it in issue 6 here. We need to display those sliders, and this is something that crops up a lot, and it caught me out quite a few times. So if you go up to the More, you can see that there's an option here which says Show Manual Controls. Now, if you can't see the sliders at the bottom to correct parallax using the manual mode, select Show Manual Controls here. And you can see now at the bottom we have these sliders. Turn the image off with that slider like we did before. You can see I've got 2 sliders at the bottom. I've got one that slides left to right. I've got the one underneath it which does another parallax. So you've got 2 different modes. You've got one that corrects it pivots here, and you've got one that does the sort of trapezoid. So what we need to do is we need to get the image that we've got on our printout the same as the image that we did load onto the screen. So if I toggle that image back on again, you can see it in the background up here. All right. Okay. So I can pinch and zoom this image to get it roughly where I want. So you can see that the two images are way out now. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details about doing this because it can be confusing for people. If you do get confused, use the automatic mode. It's just a lot simpler. But if I start sliding these sliders, you can see what it's doing to my image. So we're now starting to bring it. If you look at this line down the side here, I'm now starting to bring it into square with the image that's loaded. And if I slide this bottom one, you can see that I'm pivoting it from the bottom, and again I'm getting things lined up. So now I have basically parallel lines that are running parallel to my iPad and the image on the front here. Now the next thing is, obviously these aren't circles, so these are circles on our image, but they're not circles on here, so we still couldn't draw. So that's where we come to these two controls here, plus and minus. This goes up and down, this goes left to right. So if I press the minus, you can see every time I press it, it's bringing it up. Every time I press it this way, it's bringing it down. So that is the up and down. Left to right, if I press it minus, it's bringing the image in. If I press it plus, it's bringing the image out. So these are oblongs at the moment, so I need to bring the image into more of a circle shape and still move this around so I can line it up. So you can see they're getting more circle-like, and if I bring that down, so I'm just moving the image with my finger to get it roughly the same. Obviously, it's not going to be exact because you're still doing the adjustments. So I can see that I need to bring it in very slightly, down, and I'll keep manipulating this until I get the images mapped pretty much exactly on top of each other. So again, the sliders to do the parallel part, which I've got there, and the up and down, left to right, to map things exactly as per the image loaded. Now, once I'm happy, let's just say I'm happy with that, which didn't take long. I mean, I was doing it on the video. Normally it would take me probably 20 seconds to do this. Once I've got it to this point, again, if I'm happy with that, I can just press save. Again, it says, just checking, would you like to save these camera settings? Yes, I would, thank you. Done. It's now saved. So now I can come out of the camera mode. I can get rid of my little crib sheet here, which is the printout of that image. So image on the screen, printout. I've mounted it onto a bit of card, but mount it onto a bit of cardboard to keep it flat if you like. But I now know that everything is square again. Okay, so I think that was hint number 6/7. The manual mode confuses the hell out of everybody. And to me, to be honest, it was probably the easiest way. I used the manual mode way before I used the automatic mode, just because that's the way I operate. Some people like automatic stuff, some people like the manual. I like the manual because it's up to me to get it exactly how I want it. Sometimes I want something slightly distorted for the point of the image. Now that is all you need to know about setting it up so that it is now parallax. And I'm going to give you a quick summary on the next video.